Good day, my friends. My name is Tracy Repchuk, and I'm the host of Reach Millions TV, an entrepreneurial lifestyle and learning channel where I will educate and introduce you to some of the greatest powerhouses in their fields. As an entrepreneur for over 37 years, I've had the good fortune to appear in Forbes over 27 times, speak in 39 countries, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, won awards from the Senate, the Assembly, the White House, and President Obama. I've written 9 #1 bestsellers, and from that journey, I reached millions with my message. So I wanted to show you how to introduce you to people that can help you to find more leads, make more sales, and reach millions with your message. So you can find out more about me at tracyrepchuk.com or reachmillionsacademy.com. Now, today I am joined by a dear friend and powerhouse, Deborah Daniels. She brings nearly 30 years of experience, and she is the founder of and the CEO of Charter Accounting and Tax Services and Women's Wealth Secrets, which is going to be a Live in the Hive show coming soon, so look for that. Now, Deborah brings a unique blend of financial expertise, real-world authenticity, and practicality to help her clients really understand and master the whole money equation. Deborah is a speaker, author of 100 Innovative Ways to Make a Profit and the soon-to-be-released Women's Wealth Secrets. And she is also the host of a podcast show called Money Without Limits, and that is a show that I have been on. Now, Deborah's goal is to change the money conversation, especially for women, because she wants each of us to prosper the way we are all deserved to do. So, Deborah, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tracy, for having me. You know, you're one of my favorite people on the planet. So, of course, I'd love to have, I know this is going to be a scintillating conversation because we've had many of them before.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Like when you get us in a room, it's pretty well, good to go for hours. And so hopefully everyone's settling in for the reality is amazing content from you, because I am purely impressed with your knowledge of all things, of course, wealth building, and the strategies that you have are like nothing I have heard, and I have talked to many investors. So really, let's start off with what you're best known for, which is helping your clients make more money, keep more money, and grow more money. What started you down that path?
Well, I mean, what really started me is, of course, I mean, my claim to fame, the most constant through the whole almost 30 years is I'm a CPA. Yes. The thing is, I'm a little different than most CPAs. I've always treated my business as a business, not as a professional practice. I'm really an entrepreneur who happens to, my claim is sell accounting and financial and wealth services, right? That's a really different take than most accountants. So I think just out of the box, I'm kind of like an outside the box kind of accountant, because I really see the flow of money. I love the word currency. It's kind of an old fashioned word that you don't hear very much. You know, the main person in the US who, the office of the comptroller of the currency is the head guy for money. And it's really because our forefathers really got that there is a flow of money, right? I mean, it's not meant to be just stockpiled and put away. I mean, when I make $1, it has an impact on other people, right? The last live speaking that I did pre-COVID was to a group of social entrepreneurs. And the topic, which is a little different, but I was like, I can make a spin on this, was about the impact of the social impact of entrepreneurship. And I really thought about that. And we really are the backbone of the world's economy. When I just did a back of the envelope, really quick calculation, I came up with it. I probably in these 30 years have easily had over 50 employees without really even working too hard. That comes up to about $4 million in wages that I've paid that have trickled out into the economy. Then that $4 million was used for those people to then pay for dancing lessons to another entrepreneur, to pay their mortgage, to pay, for gas, to pay for restaurants, to pay for whatever. And you think about the ripple effect of what we have. I mean, how what we're doing isn't just about creating wealth for ourselves, which I 100% believe the easiest way, the only way really to create wealth is to have some kind of self-employment. I don't really like even self-employment. I really want a business. There's a big difference between being self-employed and having a business. But this is how you create wealth. If you're just working for a corporation, any corporation, whatever size, it's hard to create that wealth. And that's kind of, it's evolved over 3 decades. I mean, obviously at the beginning, all I did was tax returns. Now that's kind of the keep, that's in the keep section, you know, because your biggest expenses in your life are your housing, really, probably, and your taxes, if you were to look at them. And so why not focus on those two if you're going to, it's kind of like I tell people, you know, don't chase the pennies, you know, don't jump over the dollars to chase the pennies. And a lot of times people are doing that. Focus on the things that are really, really going to make an impact. If I tell you some of my strategies, which my top 5 can save you tens of thousands of dollars on the same income, that's a big deal. If I tell you to, like, you know, some of the gurus want to tell you to eat ramen noodles and turn off the lights and don't ever go to the, you know, the cinema. I mean, I don't think you're going to get wealthy pinching pennies. So I think that's really where it all kind of came from. I love entrepreneurship. It's a lifestyle. It's not a career. It's not a job. I mean, it's not for everybody. I will tell you, if you can't sell, which I know, Tracy, that's one of your, you know, claims to fame is, you know, really helping people understand how to sell and get to people and have those prospects and get them through the sales cycle, like I get them through the money cycle. But the reality is you have to be able to sell. That's the lifeblood of your business. But I see too many people. I mean, oh, I'm a 7-figure earner. And when I look down at their stuff, they're making $30,000. That's not wealth to me. I don't care what your top line is.
That's right. That's why you talk about keeping it. So you mentioned something that I thought was very interesting, especially given what we've just been through, right? All of the financial income that we're earning, et cetera, has an effect, and it has a ripple effect. We have just been through one of a year and a half of horrific stoppage for a lot of people, right? I mean, up here in Nova Scotia, literally, we're still not out, right? You know, people cannot enter the province yet. And I look here with a retail outlet as well now on Main Street at the devastatingly small amount of foot traffic, but more importantly, restaurants that have shut, Main Street stores that could not survive this. You know, talk about that, or just touch on, because we could do a whole show.
Well, I mean, just like we are a ripple effect in the positive, it's a huge contraction for us as well. We've been pretty open. I'm in Atlanta, as you know, and I mean, we've been open fairly much. I mean, after the first 2 months when everything was kind of quarantined, we were one of the first states to open up.
I know. And,
I mean, I've been back in the gym since May of last year. I mean, we're, you know, eating in restaurants. We're not even required to wear masks anymore. So it's great that we're out there, but there are businesses that will not come back from this. We will probably feel the economic, and I don't even want to get off topic, but I feel like there's a whole mental health issue cost of what we've been through for the past 18 months, almost 18 months. It's a ripple effect. We will be feeling that. People have had to dig into their savings. They've had to dig into their retirement accounts, which totally concerns me, because one of my biggest things that I see with clients and people is they're not saving enough. I mean, unless you want to be doing, I mean, I personally am probably never going to retire because I love what I'm doing, you know, and it's fun for me. But, you know, there's a lot of people that are looking forward to that retirement time, but retirement isn't any fun when you don't have any money. I mean, you know, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Sitting at home, you have to eat, and then you have to eat ramen noodles and never go to the movies and turn your lights off.
Yeah. Because you're not saving, this is the way you have to live. I mean, absolutely, it is so true. And that is why, like 15 years ago, I said, online, guys, move your stuff online, start building your list, start doing this, right? It was because, not that I foresaw, of course, something as devastating as the pandemic was, but now that we have all seen this, the reality is it could come back. They could shut us all again. I mean, we are out of control and not in control of the moment during a time like that, which is, again, why it's just so important. Now, you have run a successful
company. Could have foreseen this. Would you ever in your lifetime have thought that the entire world would practically be shut down? I mean,
and it was the entire world. And no, I didn't. And it's funny, you know, you're watching those movies. You watch those movies like the disease movies where it floods through and people are dropping, and you look at them and you think, yeah, that's possible. But my God, you know, I mean, there's two sides to this, right? Yes, it was possible, but, you know, was it, you know, as big as we were all led to believe? You guys opened up, Florida opened up, so many places opened up. California didn't. Canada's in a complete shutdown practically still. And then, so to me too, New Zealand, right? The Premier of New Zealand opened her country openly relatively early. I think it also goes to, how smart the infrastructure and government are as well, which is to the extent of the devastation people are going to be experiencing for years. And that's the great thing about you. You've been in business now for 30 years. So what's the biggest challenge you've run into in that amount of time?
I would say, the biggest challenge I see for not just myself, but for businesses in general is the people side of it, right? Because the reality is we are limited to what we can personally do ourselves, right? And so if you want to scale, you've got to have contractors, you've got to have vendors that you can count on, you've got to have employees that you can count on. And that's not cut and dry. That's not black and white. Like, I can tell you formulas about your money, right? But there's so much more that goes into the people side of the business that is very, very important. And so I spend a lot of time, talking to clients about that kind of stuff. Like, who is their infrastructure? Who is their support team? When I'm talking to someone about their retirement planning, what's going on with your kids? Can we count on them? Can we pull? And it's not, and that's true in business as well. So what is your exit strategy? You got to start thinking about that way before
need to exit.
You're ready, right? Because you don't want to be stuck in a place where you have to sell. God forbid something were to happen to me. I'm not sure that even I am set up for my husband to either continue running the business or to sell it. And I spend a lot more time thinking about it than most people do, right?
Right.
But I think the people part is. But it's the reality is we have to be able to, I hate the word pivot. Everybody was pivot. I think it's evolution. You've got to be able to evolve your business as things change. And I think that we were proven that during this pandemic. The reality is it is survival of the fittest. Darwin was right. It's survival of the fittest on the people, but it's also survival of the fittest on the business. So that's why you really have to get your act together. And I think the gap for people is really the money side. People are still, they're handicapped in one way because there's no mechanism in our educational system to teach people about money. You can go and, I'm probably one of the most financially educated people there are. I have an MBA in finance, undergrad in finance. I'm a CPA. I've got all kinds of investment licenses. I consume money information like it's candy or whatever. But even I got most of this by just doing it, by just being in the trenches. Because I think what people a lot right now rely on incorrectly is you can go Google, what are the best money steps to do. The thing is, you'll get like a million hits. The reality is anybody can post something on the internet. You don't know their background. You don't know where they're coming from, if they're really even valid. And even if they are valid, let's assume that everything out there is valid. Is it applicable to your situation? So I think really finding, even if you're not in business and or personal, you've got to find someone to curate that stuff. I'm a huge proponent of coaching. I'm a coach myself, but I spend tons of money on coaching because we all have gaps. We all have blind sides. But I think the money side is a big part of it for most businesses. You are the consummate, as far as getting people in the pipeline, getting leads, converting them and making sales. But the reality is there's more to it than just making the sales. You could be an awesome marketer and a failure at your business, right? And I think that's the
absolutely. Yeah. I love that. That's right. Every single part in business is key. Obviously, without the lifeblood of clients or prospects into a pipeline, you have nothing after. You become the world's greatest secret, right?
Right, exactly.
And things of that nature. Now, again, you have a program that I want to bring up called Money Without Limits. I had something to do with the title. I had something to do with your course. And I think it's so amazing, which is why I wanted to bring it up. So, tell us a little bit about that, and then kind of you're doing your own podcast. Talk a little bit about how it all works together.
Well, the Money Without Limits is the program is actually a 12-week course that you and I kind of put together that kind of culminates, almost personal finance in a box kind of thing. What are the really important things? And, just curate kind of what are the areas that you should be focusing on. Real world tips, real world, this is what I've done. This is what I've seen clients do. This is what I can help you to do. And it's really foundational for everything that I do. So I have that. It's more on the personal side personal finance side, because I will tell you, in 30 years of working with people, I have never seen a successful business where the personal finance was not included. Now, I mean, not in order, right? You know what I'm saying? You can't have all kinds of credit card debt on the personal side and be able to manage your business finances. It just doesn't work. But so what kind of the way I layer all this stuff on together, the Money Without Limits podcast, because it is really my target market, the people that I talk to. I have tons of men clients. I love men. I've got an awesome husband, an awesome son, but I do think the conversation is a little bit different of women and money. And so on my podcast, I have lots who I pick are other people that are rock stars in business or finance. Because again, going back to my thought, my stake in the sand, my soapbox, my absolute gut truth is that you cannot really build wealth without owning a business. So those are so married together. I can't not have entrepreneurial women on my podcast. And so those kind of all fit together. But one thing that I do a little bit differently than a lot of coaches don't do, or a lot of consultants, when somebody gets my other business programs, right? So say they buy, I have one that's called Inner Circle Brain Exchange, which is a little bit more intimate, more of a mastermind. I automatically give them this Money Without Limits program. So if they didn't come in from that perspective, I just feel like when somebody's a private client of mine, they get everything, right? They don't get like, okay, buy one thing, buy one thing, buy one thing. If you start it at the apex, you get everything that's below it. And so then you really get everything that you need. But if you only just need the personal, then you could just get the personal. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Well, and when you think of it as well, like I was there when we were starting to design all of that. And I remember coming up with the programs you even have in your CPA office, with I think are genius, because that is the problem with CPAs. They live on the dollar per hour, right? Well, you can't get rich on dollar per hour. You must package your programs. And that was, I think, one of the key strategies we did.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And a lot of that came about because even as someone who's really a consumer of all this kind of what's the next best thing information, I was still treating my accounting practice a little bit like still like a professional services business. But since then, I've put together packages. People want more stuff. I mean, we're actually we're launching something that we've been talking about for a while called the Financial Fitness Club, which is going to be something that,
I remember that.
That anyone, either my clients or my or just my women networking business owner friends, if they're not a tax client, they still can join in on. And it's just going to be all kinds of just the stuff that I put out there. And I, again, if somebody is a member of the Financial Fitness Club, they also get their tax return included for free as part of the deal. I mean, because I feel like I'm leading you to that place. Let me get you all the way there. Right.
Absolutely. And that is, again, why I so appreciate what you do, because you remind me of me, only in the accounting world, right? You're a one-stop shop. You can take them from their first dollar to setting up the infrastructure of a corporation, all the way to, building massive amounts of wealth and doing it simply, because the programs that you have or the recommendations I know that you make for where people put their money, I just find that so different than the typical put it here in your RRSP and watch it dwindle away to nothing, to what the things you recommend, which I just absolutely adore.
What I find is really interesting is we do one program, which I was only doing live, but this is kind of more of a webinar education, because I have a ton of education that I do. But we call it Wealth 101. And it really goes into some of the just building blocks. And I have a lot of who used to come to it, now that it's online, a lot more people are coming to it, but were my clients. And my personal tax clients, a lot of them are corporate executives here in Atlanta. And there are people that are making multiple six figures that would leave this hour and a half class saying, I had no idea about this kind of investing. I had no idea this is how money really worked. I just thought if I just kept making more, that's all I had to do. And that's really not it's not about the making more. It's like, what do you do with what you make,
Exactly. I love that. So what is the best piece of advice you have for our Reach Millions viewers? Because, you've done it.
Well, I mean, honestly, the best thing is, I mean, it's so trite, but you really nobody plans to get to retirement and not have enough money. I mean, if you are not already on a systematic savings and investing plan, whether you're working in a company and putting that into your 401k, or whether you're working, own your own business, and we've got multiple options there. If you haven't started, the best time to start, I think, and the best time I started saving, even when I didn't know as much as I do now, is the minute I started making money. I started putting some stuff to the side.
So did I. So did I. 10% of everything goes to that emergency fund.
I mean, you've got to, you just can't, I mean, look what happened. I mean, in March of last year, if you used to say that having 6 months expenses was adequate. I don't know that 6 months expenses is adequate right now, based on what we've just been through.
It certainly wasn't. We just went through 18 months where you needed a very big rainy day account.
Right. And the thing is, we've been lucky that there have been programs like here in the US, we've had stimulus payments that have been given out. They've kept people from, as much foreclosures. They've stopped, letting people be evicted and stuff like that. But the reality is that doesn't solve the problem, because, I mean, we're going to see, I mean, here, real estate prices are going crazy. People are buying houses like crazy. There's no inventory. I personally think that's because of what we did for the past year, because people are living in rental units that they're not having to pay because they can't be foreclosed on. And I'm certainly not a proponent for people being homeless, but the reality is most of my clients that have rental properties have one or two, and they don't have them. They're not Daddy Warbucks. They don't have it paid off. They're having to pay that mortgage if they want to keep that property. And then this person who unfortunately probably lost their job or whatever isn't paying them rent. Now you're asking me as an individual to pay for somebody else. That's got to stop. I mean, it's going to end. They're going to start letting people evict people, and then all of a sudden we're going to have this glut of property, I think, on the market. So I think it's a little bit of we have to be careful. And
you'll have a glut of people as well.
Exactly. But I think you really have to be forward thinking more so than you think you do. I mean, I think you can't just be like, what's the next greatest, I mean, I love that the Hawks finally are doing well. I mean, I don't follow sports that much, but I hear my son and my husband talking about it. And I guess the Hawks are doing pretty well. And I don't know if it's over yet, but they were doing well. But, that's great. But honestly, we have to talk more seriously, spend more time thinking about, what am I doing for retirement? Then where am I going on vacation next year? Or, what's the next, sports thing that I'm going to do, right? I mean, I think that's where people make a mistake. I mean, love sports, love vacation. That's great. But spend at least that much time, on what you're going to do for the rest of your life,
Exactly. That's right. It's not just, a simple answer, because again, different ratios, different circumstances, and
well, it's not just that, Tracy. I think people look at it, if they even do bother to give it any opinion, as a one and done. But it's really it's a living, breathing thing. I mean, just like when you write a business plan, your business, I certainly am not where I thought I would be 30 years ago, right? You have to keep working with that. It's an evolving, kind of plan, and we have to make adjustments for that. And I think most people, I don't know why they don't do it. I think they're intimidated by it. I think I think there is a lot of shame in the lack of financial knowledge. And so they don't want to ask somebody, but that's crazy. Right. I mean, it's more shameful to be, in poverty when you retire.
In the street. Yeah, exactly. So give us, I was there as we created your tips. Give us one of the tips for our audience right now so they can bite on something.
Oh gosh, there's so many of them. Oh gosh, I'm just trying to think. You threw me off because I got to think. One of my tips always is have multiple streams of revenue. I mean, whether you work in a job, this was even important before COVID, but now most people really get it. I think people are looking at like direct sales, which is one good passive revenue, not passive, but recurring revenue that would never have thought about looking at it before. But and one of the things, and Tracy, I don't know if I can share this, but if they go to my landing page, which is moneyreimagined.com, I actually have a report for the 4 revenue types that you need to have for a successful business or whatever. And one of them is, baseline income. My baseline income is my CPA firm. That's what's covered the expenses. But then you've got to go to a one-to-many model. Like you were saying, I can't just keep doing tax return after tax return after tax return. But everybody can come up with some kind of one-to-many model where you're leveraging. I call that leveraged income. You're leveraging your knowledge to multiple people in the room at the same time. Then you need some kind of recurring or passive revenue. They used to call that mailbox money. Now it's just direct deposit money, right? Where people are going to a website and just buying a product that you recommend or buying a service that's complementary complimentary, but you're getting a little commission off of it, but it doesn't require me and you to have a sales conversation every time. And then the fourth one is invest those profits, right? So if you have all 4 of those types of revenue, or at least some in each bucket, then you're not dying, when all of a sudden your baseline is off.
Fantastic.
I would say that's one of my biggest tips. And I go into a lot more detail in that report that I've got at that website.
Very, very cool. Love it. Love it. Okay. So viewers are going to want to connect with you after. I know you are in the Be Connected community, so they can look up your name. Is it Deborah Daniel that you?
Daniel, no S. Everybody wants to put an S, but there's
Deborah
no S.
Daniel. Okay. I am of the S group too. I have to fight all the time to not.
It's actually instinctual. I actually had a roommate in college whose last name was Owen, and she would always be Owen, no S. And I was not even married for a week before I called her and said, "Oh my God, I get it," because it just people it's an automatic tendency for people to put an S on the name, in any name that sounds like that.
It's like ownership of the Daniel, exactly. Yeah. And then tell people any other site really, that you want to give out.
I've got, like I said, the landing page. Money reimagined. So just the word money and then reimagined.com. There's all kinds of way to get it. There's a way to get on a call with me if you want to. There is that report, which is the 4 different types of revenue. There's a little bit more information about me. I have a website, DeborahDaniel.com. And then if you're interested in our accounting services, charteraccounting.com. And all my contact information is on all of those sites. But also, I would love for people to check out my YouTube channel, which is awesome. It's got some of my good tips on there as well.
Sweet, sweet. I absolutely love it. And we're just logging in here. Okay, well, any questions, guys, before we leave from the audience? Is there anything you have to ask us? And if not, head to moneyreimagined.com, connect with Deb on the Be Connected platform. She'll book with you, right? She's here. She's real. I don't know how many years I've known you. She's an incredible leader. She has led major women's groups. She's bringing her show to the Live in the Hive network. So you're going to be seeing a lot of her. Any last words, Deb?
No, I really appreciate, spending time with you, Tracy. Like I said early on, and when you posted on Facebook, one of my favorite people on the planet. If you guys don't know Tracy Repchuk, you need to follow her and connect with her as well. She's been instrumental in me taking my brick and mortar business out into the internet world. And right now we can't do that. We can't do business. I mean, again, a traditional brick and mortar, I own my building. I just turned it into an all women's co-working space. I mean, you have to still have that internet presence. I mean, and you've been instrumental, and Tracy can tell you all things internet. You were like there when the internet started, right?
I was there when it started. So so thank you so much, Deb. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to have you here today. Stay tuned to this channel, Reach Millions TV, for more exciting episodes here on the Live in the Hive broadcast network. So until next time, here's to your continued success. Bye for now.